Hi, everybody. Welcome. And today we're in for a treat. We're here with Dr. Denise Bogelin, an internal medicine doctor and an adolescent wellness specialist. And Dr. Denise has tons of energy and tons of positive energy. Like I watched some of her stuff beforehand to prepare, and I felt a little happier. So thank you. And the first thing we're going to talk about is, well, first of all, how did you end up kind of creating this whole other component of looking at adolescent wellness as a subset of what you do?
Well, I work as an internist, and as an internist, I don't know if many people are familiar with us. We take care of adult patients, diabetes, high blood pressure, COPD, some of the chronic illnesses. And there's a crazy fact out there that 80% of these illnesses are lifestyle related. And because of that, and it's so hard to get an adult to really adjust how they live, their lifestyle things, when most of their diseases, their suffering that they're experiencing are related to simple changes and tweaks they could make in their diet. So I decided that, you know what, I will have to go back to an earlier stage in life when people are more moldable. And it actually fits in my life experience too, because I actually have been a youth leader in most of the churches I've been in since I myself was a teenager. And so it just kind of all aligned itself together to just really affect wellness from an earlier age. Basically, I want to work myself out of a job.
You want to do prevention instead of
Yes,
right.
thank
Well,
you.
that's great. That's really great. And we're gonna benefit from some of the stuff that you are promoting right now, which I think it first of all, I love when people have an acronym. So tell us your acronym.
It's Fount.
Fount.
Fount. Fount is the 5 keys to wellness and wisdom to help unlock your best.
And that isn't just for teenagers, but it works really well for teenagers as well. So let's start with what F stands for.
F is for fuel. And when we talk about fuel, this is really how the foods that you're putting into your body, and not just the type of foods, but the amount of foods or even the timing of foods. All those things are super important. And there's something I love to tell people, like, Susan, what is your dream car to get?
Car?
Yeah, car. If you had all the money in the world.
Yeah, so I'm not so into cars, so it's not the
Okay.
best question, but what I'll tell you is I would love to have a convertible one day.
Okay, so you go and you get your convertible, and they say you needed to put the highest, most expensive gas in the convertible. Because you pull up to the gas station, you're just too cheap. You're like, not gonna do it, not gonna happen. I'm gonna go get the 87 octane, the $1 60 something cents one, and that's what I'm gonna put in my car. Will your car run?
Not as well.
But it still runs. Exactly. It will not run as well. And that's what I try to tell people. Yeah, your body works fine with some of the low quality foods that you eat. It works, but it doesn't work as well. So choosing the right foods to eat to help your body function at its best. And that's what I mean when I talk about fuel. So
Oh,
that's
I
the
love
F
that.
in
You
Fount.
know, the car analogy is perfect. I'm just not so good at thinking of, I don't dream
You
about
know,
it with the
I'm
car.
not a car person either.
Yeah, but it's
But,
perfect. Yeah, it's perfect.
teenagers love cars, especially
So,
teen boys. So
right. Can you like explain a little bit what you mean about when you eat? So we all know there's like those foods like fruit and vegetables that nourish us and give us energy more than the sugar. But you said also when you eat. So what is that?
yeah, when you eat is important because let's for I'm not sure how this came about that we eat our largest meal right before we go to bed in the evening when we don't even need the energy. Our largest meal really should be breakfast or lunch. And the other thing with eating our largest meal so late in the evening is it takes a lot of energy to process our meals. And when it's time to go to sleep and our body should really be concentrating on relaxation, concentrating, and during our sleep, concentrating on fixing and repairing itself, it is spending that time digesting. And so the timing of food is everything. And I don't know where it came about. I did do a little research years ago, and it really just turned out to be it was more of a traditional thing that really is not based in health. But if we really go back and really understand and want to eat based on health, our largest meal should be either breakfast or lunch or earlier in the afternoon, not as late as we eat our biggest meal now. So that's what I mean
Especially
when I
now that and now we know to think of it as our fuel. That makes total sense, that we would want to fuel ourselves for the time that we're awake and needing energy. Okay,
say
so the next thing is O. What's O for?
the O is for optimistic. This is the mental aspect of wellness, a positive mindset. You just can't beat it when it comes to being and feeling your best.
Okay, so you are optimistic. You come at the real.
I was born that way. I really was. You know what? When I was born that way, that is just, it's a gift that I've gotten. We all have our gifts. Some of us can play basketball. Some of us can sing. Some of us can dance. I am really good at being optimistic. If you want to find the positive aspect of anything, you ask me, I will find it for you.
But that puts some of us at a disadvantage when that's part of our wellness. If we don't come at the world with optimism, what do we do?
That's exactly what I was going to back up and say. It's something that you can learn, though. And some of the steps I talk about is recognizing reality, then making a positive move and connecting with love. A lot of times our lack of optimism really gets lost in the greatest gift we have as humans, as is our imagination. Our lack of optimism comes from our imagination running away with us. We can imagine the worst possible outcomes for everything. And if you just stop yourself when you start thinking about the worst possible outcomes and say, well, why don't I think about what's the best possible outcome? Because there is. The same way we can imagine the worst possible outcome, it hasn't even happened yet. We've just imagined it. It's the same exact energy we could put into imagining the best possible outcome.
And you say it like it's so easy. And I want to put out there that maybe it is so easy. Do we all have the power to just do that pivot and say, I don't want to think about it that way, I'll think about it this way?
Of course we can, because we have a brain. None of us are automatons or robots. That's the beauty of being humans. We are in control of our own faculties. We can. And it's a muscle that just needs to be exercised. If you realize that it's something that is important for your health, you'll stop and start exercising that muscle. And honestly, even me being a super optimistic person, I mean, we're women of a particular age, so I can say this. I birthed 3 children back to back to back after age 35. And needless to say, my body did not bounce back. And for a time there, I would walk past the mirror and be like, and make some little snarled comment inside my head about my own body. And then one day when I realized that, I said, no, you can't do that. Your body's amazing. You are a 40-year-old woman. And I'm not 40 now, by the way, back when I checked myself. I'm 49 now. But back when I checked myself, I'm like, within 6 years, you pushed out 3 children. Your body's amazing. You can't talk about it like that. And so what I did, anytime one of those bad thoughts popped in my head, I will stop it instantly and replace it with something good. And before you know it, I began to feel better about myself. So this is definitely something that you can exercise. We're not bound to anything. We're really not. We are powerful as human beings.
Okay, that's awesome. Let's move on to U.
Yes. U is for understanding. And that's understanding how just basic physiology about your body. We're not talking about, we don't necessarily have to get into an anatomy and physiology lesson, but just understanding some of those basic things about how our bodies function, the brain gut connection, just how all our body interacts with each other. So that's understanding how our body works. The next part of it is understanding how our interactions with other human beings can affect our health. There are some studies that shows that if your friends are unhealthy, you're unhealthy. If your physician is a smoker or not taking good care of yourself, it's less likely they're going to advise you to make lifestyle changes. So there are all these studies out there that show how the people that we associate with and we bond with, how they can affect our personal wellness. And then the last part of understanding is understanding how society as a whole, laws and government and environment and all those things can affect our wellness. And it's not more obvious to us as with during this pandemic, how those things can affect us.
Okay, we're going to give a second to share what Chris shared, which is, thank you so much, Dr. D. Nice. Positive self-talk is so important. And thank you, Chris, for sharing that with us. Okay, so now we're on to N, which is for natural. So tell us about that.
N is for natural. And this is really understanding. And each of these 5 keys to Fount, they have 3 subcategories underneath them, if you all have noticed a pattern already. And so the N in Fount is for natural, and it talks about avoiding toxins, learning natural remedies, and the last part is water. And they're kind of self-descriptive. The toxins, the usual things, smoking, alcohol, and if you want and drugs, if you want to get deeper into the tree huggery, which I try to limit it too much so on my social media because I probably drive people crazy. But you try to eliminate the plastics and the parabens and all the other things. Depends on how deep you want to go to it. But definitely the most obvious ones are alcohol, tobacco, and illicit drugs. And then natural remedies, the ones I push the most is just simply fresh air and sunlight. 2 totally underutilized natural remedies that are free.
Especially now, right? It's so important right now to get outside and just it makes you feel alive.
It does. It does so much for our bodies. I mean, we could sit here for the next hour just talking about the benefits of those 2. And then water, of course. I have just a natural passion for water, hydration. There is a doctor out there, and every time I need to say this man's name, I can never remember it. But the name of the book he wrote is called "You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty." Yes, just how he made the realization that so many illnesses are linked to people underhydrating themselves. In medicine, we know there's a classic, just as like headaches, there's a huge link to headaches and just being dehydrated.
Is there like a baseline that people should try to get every day in terms of in terms of how much water to drink? And I just want to share, Deborah Fish says, I love her effervescent personality.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you. Yeah, if you're Instagrammer, Debbie, you can catch my effervescent personality every day.
So how do they find you on Instagram?
It's at Dr. And I realized when I put my name in, I spelt it wrong. I forgot the R in doctor, but it's essentially how my name is up there. It's dr.dnice-beaujolin without the dash. Instagram doesn't allow you to put a dash in your name, but dr.dnice-beaujolin, and you'll see my smiling face pop up. I could put it in the chat if that helps.
I just put it in there.
Okay.
So tell me, how much is there an amount that we should be striving for?
One of my nephrology friends, and I've asked him that question specifically, and he says he doesn't specifically tell people a number. What he tells people is a sign to look for. Your urine should be clear. And if your urine is not clear, if you have normally functioning kidneys, then you are not drinking enough.
Okay, that's a really good thing for us. That's easy enough for us to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, we think about you should have 8 glasses, but is my glass the right size? Is everybody else's glass? How big is the glass? All that's confusing. And when he told me that, I'm like, you know what? That makes it easy. Thank you. Yeah. And that's a nephrologist.
Thank you. So let's get to T. Last one.
T is for time. And this is how you're using your 24 hours to make sure that you are well. And this is how you sleep, how you exercise. And one part that people always forget is how you relax. And those are the three aspects of it. And the reason, I mean, we know about exercising, the benefits of it. If you're a teen, less than 18, the recommendation out there is at least 60 minutes of exercise a day. If you're an adult, then the recommendation is at least 150 minutes of exercise for a week. And so we know exercise is important. Sleep, and the younger you are, the more sleep you need. Most adults can do fine with about anywhere between 7 to 9 hours. And for high schoolers, definitely at least 9 hours is what they need. And the younger is more hours. And, we, this cracks me up every time we talk about it. I had a high school basketball player, high performing athlete. He's away at school now. He actually got a full scholarship to a D1 university playing basketball. And I asked him, hey, how much sleep do you need? This young man told me 4. He's a young child. He wasn't, I think he was 16 when I asked him that. I'm like, you're a high performing athlete. Imagine how amazing your body would function if you would get the 9 that it is that you need. Yeah.
So did he try to do that?
Say that again?
Did he try to change? Like,
I told him I just let it go. Sometimes you just have to let people go and, learn on their own.
But we've talked about it here before with other people that like the professional athletes all talk about how sleep is the thing that distinguishes them from other people, that their commitment to good sleep makes them the athlete that they are. So that's great advice to give to these kids.
Exactly. And, sometimes you say it the best way you can, and sometimes you do have to just let it go. But definitely during that time is where your body fixes and repairs itself. Super important time of how to spend towards wellness. And then the relaxation part, which people ignore. And if you just forgive me 1 second, I'm going to get a little biology-ish. When we think of our nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, there are 2 parts. There's the autonomic nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, the one that we can control. But the autonomic nervous system, the part that we are not in that much control of, that keeps us breathing and our hearts racing and food digesting and those kind of things, that is divided into 2 parts, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. We're very familiar with the sympathetic because that's the fight or flight. That's the one that you get stressed out, your life is just falling apart around you. You get that agitated, stress, gotta go feeling. And then the parasympathetic nervous system, that is the one that we refer to as rest and digest. That is the one that keeps us calm. And that's what relaxation does. When we relax, when we take time to relax our bodies, we're creating balance to that sympathetic system that we tend to live in so much in our modern lifestyle. And now we have to purposely find ways to relax. Before electricity and before all the internet and those things, relaxation was just naturally built into the lifestyle because when the lights go out, what you going to do? You can't stay up, But now we really have to take time to really think about relaxing and creating balance in that autonomic nervous system.
So can you give some examples when you talk, like, is it everybody relaxes differently, or do you actually mean meditation, breathing, those kind of things?
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, yeah, both what you've just said. Everybody relaxes differently, and meditation, breathing, short walks, long baths, reading, lounging. I was going to say wine, but no, that's doing a whole lot of different things. I just had to throw that out there for those people who think drinking a glass of wine in the evening is the best way to relax. Maybe not, but, just taking time to just bring your body down.
And I think did you say something in one of your Instagrams about walking barefoot?
Yes. Oh, yes. That's called grounding or earthing. And it sounds a little woo-woo, but it isn't. because our bodies are electrically charged. Our cells create charges, negative and positive across the cell. And during as our body works, we create a lot of things we call free radicals or charges or energy. In the same way you would ground a electrical wire. I'm not an electrician. I'm told that you have to ground stuff though. It's the same kind of thing that you would do to your own self when you go outside and you discharge the energy on like a natural surface. So that's why walking on the beach barefooted is so calming to people, or just walking in the grass, or just touching a natural surface. It's part of that grounding experience, that's why it feels so calming to our body.
So if you live in a place with cold weather, it's like right now you can't go out in New York and go out barefoot. Can you do it? Will it have the same impact to be in your own house on carpet
It's
or tile? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not the same exact impact, but it will work. It will work. There actually is, if you Google it, there's sites that sell grounding mattresses, grounding tools where you could actually ground your bed. So when you're laying in your bed, it's kind of grounded to the earth. I'm not, like I said, I'm not an electrician, but it's out there. You can buy it. There's a girl I follow on Instagram. She does all that stuff. I do not have a grounded mattress, but maybe I should. I don't know.
So I've tried yoga. I'm not very flexible. I don't love the experience so much, but one of the poses I actually love is tree pose, when you plant your feet down on the ground and you lift one leg. And I feel like it's what you're talking about. Like yoga has a lot of that, grounding your feet into the ground barefoot and feeling the earth beneath you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does really have an impact.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's a technique that they even teach. There's a class I went to on resilience, and it's one of the techniques they actually teach young kids to do for themselves when they're feeling anxious and out of control. Even for the parent or the teacher or whoever, is to help, like, have the kid take their shoes off and just walk barefooted. And it does something. It almost resets your brain and just kind of snaps you back to where you are. To try it. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's all.
Go ahead.
Yep.
No, I was just saying our body's amazing. If we work with it, it has equipped us with. There's everything there to make us feel our best.
Okay, Dr. Denise Bojulin, I want to say that like these tips are, the first thing is like to roll your eyes and go, that sounds ridiculous. And then the second thing is to try it, because I did some of the things that you suggested and I actually felt my body respond to them. So thank you so much for being here with us. And I hope we'll get a chance to get together again sometime soon. Thank you.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I did forget to say, in January, I am starting a weight loss class for teens. It's called Body Hacking. My website is wisdomteethinger.com. Classes will be open for registration within the next few days, probably in a week. Registration will be open for Body Hacking, which is a weight loss class for teens, using some of the same techniques that I just talked about before. Just really working with your body and not against it, and helping teens before they really get caught up in the whole diet and deprivation culture to get their bodies to their ideal size.
Okay, so body hacking class is opening in January, and your website is Wisdom Teethinger?
Yeah, Wisdom Teeth ING Wisdom Teething
Yeah, so I put it in there for anybody who wants to go check it out. And again, thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you so